Hello and welcome to the Divorce to Bliss podcast. Here you will learn all things related to healing from divorce, mind, body, and spirit, so you can create a beautiful new life filled with happiness. I'm Rachel Ruby, author of Divorce to Bliss, divorce coach, speaker, and attorney, and I'm so glad you found me here. Hello and welcome to the Divorce to Bliss podcast. I'm Rachel S. Ruby, and today we are going to be talking about self-care for healing. Now, many of us realize that self-care is important, right? And should be done every day. We should take care of ourselves every day. We should do little things to help ourselves within body, mind, and spirit, because it is so important to focus on the self. But what happens in our busy world and our busy lives is that we often, when we have that extra time, we will think to ourselves, oh, wow, if I take this extra time to do more work, I'll have less work tomorrow, or clean my house or do my errands. And so we get in this trap where we do those things and we neglect the self-care. Now, the problem with this is that we think it's going to allow us to have more time in the future to devote to self-care by doing all these things and trying to get them done. But the truth is that that's not the way it works. And we're neglecting the self-care that we should be utilizing every day to keep ourselves sane, to be in check with our bodies, our minds, and our spirit. And especially when we are going through divorce or coming out of divorce and starting the healing process or in the healing process, we need to use self-care every single day, because it's a flawed perspective to think that we will eventually have time to do it. We need to make the time. It's a choice. So this is such a truth when you're going through any kind of trauma. And we are going to talk about the ways that we can make sure that we utilize self-care and make time for it every single day during our healing so that we can move forward. You are your number one asset, because if you are not healthy in your mind, if you're not healthy in your body, if you're not connected to your spirit, you are not the best and highest version of yourself, and healing is going to be a very difficult, if not impossible, task. So, number one for self-care is, and I've talked about this many times before, to express your thoughts, and do this in writing. Make sure that you are keeping a written journal, a record of your thoughts and feelings. And it doesn't mean that you have to sit there and write a book every day. You can just jot a few things down about how you're feeling every day. And this is going to have a huge effect on you for two reasons. One is that you're putting it out there, so you're letting your mind know that, hey, this is how I feel. And two is that by writing it down, you're releasing it. And that helps you to take accountability for where you're going, where you're headed, and how you feel now, and how you hope to feel when you have gone through the healing process. Number two is to nourish your mind. And this is so important, because a lot of times when we are going through a trauma like divorce, we spiral downwards. We kind of go down that drain, right? And it's so easy to go into that victim state. If you're a viewer or listener of my podcast, you know that I've talked about this often. So we want to nourish our mind with relaxing things every single day, even if it's for 10 minutes a day. You can do meditation, you can do yoga, you can listen to some beautiful, lovely music and light a candle, set the ambiance for it. You can read a book. You can just close your eyes and breathe and listen to your breathing. You can pet your dog or your cat. I mean, just take some time for relaxation and breathing and being still. And this is so helpful in healing. Number three is to nourish your body. Of course, I have a whole podcast devoted to the importance of this, but in a quick nutshell, we all know we're supposed to eat healthy. But what so many of us don't realize is that when we are in trauma, when our body is in trauma, we tend to not do that, right? So you might either skip meals and not eat at all, or you might eat things that are really bad for you. You may not stay hydrated. And so easy to go there if you are to either extreme, if you are not feeling grounded and positive and good in where you are and where you're going. So make it a point to cook yourself relaxing meals, take supplements that if you need them, talk to a nutritionist or your doctor, and get a lot of sleep. That's so important. And exercise. So the next one is to stay social. Now, it's so important that you have the right social support, the right social network, support network for you when you are healing. And again, I have a whole podcast devoted to this, but in a nutshell, again, you want to be with people who support you and let you make your own choices and don't try to influence you or manipulate you into what they think you should do. So when you by staying social, you want to be with people. So whether you go out to dinner, go out dancing, go out to see a movie, or just have friends over or go to someone's house, you want to be around people and try to do this at least once a week. Possibly more if you can, just meet a friend and go on a walk one day, and maybe on the weekend go out with some friends and do something fun. And that's going to help keep your mind less stressed and less focused on the work that has to be done, because you want to focus on the now and not that end goal, right? Okay. And number 5 is to speak and think positive thoughts and about yourself. And this is so important because we need to have a positive internal dialogue with ourselves. So that is when we are not telling ourselves what we did wrong or blaming ourselves, but when we are instead congratulating ourselves, patting ourselves on the back for this journey we are taking, for how far we've come from getting out of that marriage for whatever it was, the reason was, but not focusing on that, but focusing on the steps we're taking to move forward so we can have this beautiful life that we dream about and that we want to create. So it all starts with positive internal dialogue and being kind to ourselves. And then number 6 is taking responsibility. And this is so important because, as I've mentioned so many times, we always have choices. And if we blame someone else for our lives not going the way we want, or for things that happened in the past that are keeping us stuck in this moment right now and unable to heal and move forward, then that means that we have to wait for that person to change before we can move forward, right? And we might be waiting forever for that. And we might not even know if the person's changed, and the person may never change. So blaming somebody else is not the way for you to heal. You need to take responsibility. And I'm not saying to blame yourself. I'm just saying to accept that whatever is. Whatever happened in the past, happened in the past. You're here now. It doesn't matter. Your goal now is to take responsibility for your life now. So make a choice to move forward and take that responsibility, take that life by the reins, and just know that you can do it. This is your choice. Number 7 is to take time to be alone. And I have a whole podcast on this as well. So again, very quickly, being alone means time just for you. Time when you sit in a bath, or you light some candles and put on some soft music, or you sit and meditate, or you just do something relaxing. You go sit by a lake, by the ocean, on a grassy hill, whatever it is, just do something by yourself and just relish that time. Because again, often in this busy life, we don't take that time to be alone. And it's not only okay to do that, and even though for some people it may be scary, especially going through after having gone through a divorce, because there's a fear of being alone, but learn to love being alone, because this is when you really feel deep thoughts within yourself. And this is when you really come to some realizations and discoveries about you, who you are now in this new life, and what you want. So take that time to be alone, decompress and relax, and enjoy the quiet. And number 8 is do something new. try this, a couple times a month at least, whether it's taking a class, whether it's doing something you always wanted to try. It can be a sport, it can be anything, and in painting, cooking, whatever. And you can do this with a friend or with yourself, but try something different. And if that doesn't work and doesn't make you feel good, try something else. This is your life. You are the ringmaster and you can make it any way you want. They're your choices, nobody else's. And then number 9, I kind of already mentioned this, but is to spend time in nature. It is so important to connect with nature. Even if you are doing exercise in a gym or in a class, go outside and take a walk in nature. It doesn't have to be an exercise walk. Go sit on the sand at the beach and just watch the ocean, or at a lake. Go to, again, a hill, a grassy hill, a park, sit under a big tree and look up, or just lay on the ground somewhere and look up at the clouds moving in the sky. I mean, these things really connect you with Mother Earth, and we have roots in Mother Earth, every single one of us. So it is so important to make that connection. And if you're in nature, if you can be barefoot, definitely do that, even for a few minutes, because there's something about putting your feet on the earth and grounding yourself that you just feel. You feel it within, and it is an amazing feeling. And then 10, of course, I already mentioned, is to get plenty of sleep. Again, in our crazy fast-paced lives, and also because when we are feeling stress or we are feeling lost or stuck, we sometimes don't sleep well, or we don't get enough sleep, or we're afraid to go to sleep, so we stay up late. And this isn't good for the body. Of course, you can notice bags under the eyes, lethargy, lack of energy, things like that. So it's really important to get the sleep because it cleanses your body and it allows for better healing because your energy levels are stronger. And finally, and this is one of my favorites, practice gratitude. And of course, I've talked about this many times, as I do in my book. It is so important to be grateful every day. It is important to practice that gratitude. And this comes in several forms. One is when we actually speak aloud the things for which we are grateful, because it helps to remind us that even though we're going through this healing journey, which can be, difficult at times and can cause us so many feelings, so angst and frustration and fear, we can still be grateful for so much. And you can be grateful for the 4 walls that surround you in your home, for your home in general, that takes care of you. You can be grateful for the people who love you, for your job, for your creative mind, whatever it is, for your children, for your family, for your loved ones. Just make sure you express gratitude out loud every day. And when you're having those moments where you're feeling really down and you're in this negative state or you're feeling stuck, you can actually take a moment to close your eyes and take a breath and let it out, and take a few breaths. And in that time of closing your eyes and just feeling that breath coming in and out, you can feel grateful because you're here, you're breathing, you're alive, and you are love. And the last thing I want to say about self-care is that the goal in self-care, in taking care of the self, is to learn to love the self. And when we learn to love ourself, that is one of the biggest accomplishments in life. Because, like I've said, people think they love themselves, but until you go through a trauma and you get brought down, or something difficult, not necessarily even a trauma, but something difficult in your life, and you just get brought down to that point where you don't know whether you're going to be able to crawl out of that hole, then you do, bit by bit, step by step, and you start to change the way you feel about life, and you start to become more positive. And this means you're starting to fall in love with you, and you will notice an amazing feeling. I just got the chills within your body and your mind and your connection to spirit when you come from love. And that is the goal in life, is to come from love in everything we do. Because if we do that, it attracts more love, and we connect with all these people who also come from love, and it helps us to heal. It helps us to move forward. It helps us to live in the present moment and not keep looking back, and not also focusing on a goal that's so far ahead, but just knowing that we're going to get there. And if we're coming from love, we know we're going to get to our goals, and we're going to take it step by step. And we're going to do it with the purest love in our hearts, love for ourselves, love for others who love us, love for people, even those who have hurt us and harmed us in the past. It doesn't matter. We want to get to the point where we come from love. And this is how we heal. This is how we move forward. And this is how we have an amazing life full of people who care for us and love us, and who know that we can do whatever we choose. And in turn, we know that we can do whatever we choose because we love ourselves. So take time for self-care. Don't let it slip by. Make sure you do it every day. Start with something really simple, like 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, and just do something you enjoy, and something calm and something fun, calm or fun, relaxing, whatever. But focus on these 11 things that I've mentioned and try to do some part of these every day, because you will notice a huge difference. And I guarantee that your healing journey will go a little bit quicker when you start incorporating these self-care practices into your life. Happy healing.